What's going on, guys? Peter Jennings back here with FantasyLabs doing a lineup review for Week 2. My worst week ever in the history of my daily fantasy career in NFL. So if you had a bad week, you and I were on the same page. If you had a good week, congrats to you. And the only thing that really put a smile on my face for Week 2 was seeing co-founder and really good friend Jonathan Bales take home a $15 million World Championship qualifier. Now, I'm recording this Monday night just in case there is a stat correction. We can see here that Bales is in first now. It would be the sickest beat ever if that happened, but we're going to assume that doesn't happen and that Bales holds on to this thing. And congrats to him on a killer team. And a great showing here in the queue here. So let's dive into his lineup. First thing we noticed is he started Matt Ryan. Cannot believe he was 5% owned in this thing. 100 people, only 5 on Matt Ryan against the Giants. This is an elite spot. Thought that was an obvious pick. And someone that I had exposure to in the Millionaire Maker, but didn't quite pan out. Running back spots, Mark Ingram, Dion Lewis. Mark Ingram, I thought, was one of the chalkiest plays of the week. Saints 10-point favorites at home against Tampa Bay, who couldn't stop anyone. Their defense looked a lot better, but fortunately, Ingram did get in the red zone, get some red zone looks, and did score a touchdown there for Bales. Interesting game, that Saints game. If you had Drew Brees like me in cash games, it did not work out. If you had Sam Bradford, that did not work out. So you had a few options here, and you can see these are where I spent Matt Ryan, Mark Ingram, and they didn't really go off by any means, but just because of how bad everyone else did, they were great plays this week. Dion Lewis, this is the most interesting one to me. He was high in all the FantasyLabs models. I actually had him originally on 120 Millionaire Maker teams. I threw in 500 this week, and I ended up taking him out entirely because I was worried a little bit about that whole situation. And Buffalo, huge mistake on my end as he went absolutely ham, and Bales really capitalized on him. Huge upside with the catching there, six catches for 40 yards, 98 receiving yards, and a rushing touchdown. Great lineup here for Bales, and Dion Lewis was a big part of it. Next guy, the most critical guy in all of Week 2. If you had him, you did well. If you did not have him, you got crushed. Larry Fitzgerald, elite play against that terrible Chicago secondary. A lot of people talking about how he's lost a step. Clearly not the case at all. Looked great. Had a great Week 1 as well. And I think he's definitely a viable play almost every week now in that offense. Carson Palmer looks excellent. And if they don't have a big pass rush on him, he's one of the best pure passers in the league. He's going to put up numbers, and he's going to throw it to Fitzgerald or Brown, and we'll see if Malcolm Floyd can come back. But for now, it's Larry Fitzgerald and it's Brown. And I think Larry Fitzgerald's the lead target guy right now. Next play is A.J. Green. I was all over him as well. I was disappointed in his performance, honestly, especially after he started hot with that early touchdown. But still enough here for Bales. He had a killer week. Surprising that Bales had to choose 2 of the stud receivers and didn't even have Antonio Brown and took this thing down. Julio Jones, elite play, really big bummer for Bales. I remember we were talking that night. That touchdown that Matt Ryan threw to Julio Jones, or would have been touchdown, looked like a touchdown initially, then was ruled Julio down at the 1. Cost Bales 10 points here, would have made things a lot easier for him to win. But that wasn't the case. Still a huge day for Julio Jones. And, he's easily right there with Antonio Brown as a top receiver on the year, and he looks great so far this season. Ladarius Green, love this play. Good game flow stack here with A.J. Green and Ladarius Green as well. Could have had a much bigger game, honestly. I was watching that. Definitely involved and still put up a nice game. 5 catches, 47 yards. Good play there, Bales. Definitely someone to continue to play until Gates gets back. Then the big guy, Eric Decker. Bales was tweeting out about how he swapped off him a couple years ago and it cost him $100,000, and he stuck with him this time and it paid off. I loved Eric Decker this week. The expectation was that Vontae Davis was going to cover Brandon Marshall. That proved to be true, and Eric Decker's the big beneficiary there because that's who the Jets are going to go after. Is they're going to target the player that's not going up against Vontae Davis and lead shutdown corner. Kind of backfired a little bit for Bales here at the end. Honestly, got unlucky. Basically Vontae Davis got out of the game with a concussion, and then Eric Decker also went out of the game with a knee injury. So fortunately, Decker got there, but he was pretty much a lock, in my opinion. He'd get over the 100 yards without that injury, and really looked strong overall, in my opinion, throughout the game. Hopefully he's all right. I heard they're awaiting an MRI. Would hate to see him go down, but at least he did get enough production to get Bales over the hump here. And then finally, for the defense, he chose the Patriots D. Great pick against Tyrod Taylor. I think this is a more contrarian play. Obviously, 1% owned. Good correlation here with Dion Lewis. That was really the big thing. No one really wanted New England guys going against Buffalo for both reasons. But I think there's merit to this Patriots defense, especially against Tyrod, who hasn't looked that turnover prone, but certainly someone that can turn the ball over. That was kind of the knock on him initially. So I thought this was a great play, and the Patriots definitely getting a lot of sacks. That's one thing you're going to see with Tyrod is he's going to get sacked more often because he runs, and they certainly got the picks on Tyrod there. So great overall lineup by Bales. It's awesome to see that. Great friend, and certainly one of the few things that can put a smile on my face for week 2. I am definitely ready for week 3. Hope all you guys have a good week 3 as well. And if you had a good week 2, congrats again. And if you had a bad week 2, I think you're in the same boat as a lot of other sharp players. So that's it for me. Hope to see you guys at the top of the leaderboard. And please give me any feedback here at my Twitter or at the FantasyLabs Twitter. Good luck.